My name is George Manahan, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 11 years ago at the age of 49. It really wasn't your traditional method of being diagnosed. I've been waiting to see a neurologist, but the earliest appointment I could get was about 6 weeks away. I had tremors in my right arm, and I would stuff my hand in my pocket to hide them. It was getting difficult to hide them. My good friend Ron Stallings was running for state senate, and he was having a fundraiser, and I wanted to support him. So while he was speaking to a large group of supporters, I made the mistake of grabbing a glass of wine. Within minutes, the tremors in my right arm started and the wine glass slipped out of my hand and shattered to the floor. I was embarrassed. To my left, an older gentleman turned and whispered in my ear, "Do you know what you have?" I said, "Well, my mother thinks it's Parkinson's disease, but I don't really believe her." He replied, "That's exactly what you have." Turned out that the person to my left was the chief of neurology for a regional hospital in our area. And that's how I learned I had Parkinson's disease. My life has changed in a lot of ways. It's been an emotional whirlwind. Like anyone who finds out that they have been diagnosed with a chronic progressive disease that doesn't have a cure, I was scared. That's for sure. I mean, there wasn't a lot of information available locally, so I struggled at first, trying to answer those questions. Why me? What will it mean to my life, my family, and my business? The first couple of steps I took after being diagnosed was to try to find out as much as I could about Parkinson's disease. I looked up on a national website for a support group that was in the area. And it was at a local church, and I went to the local church and nobody showed up. And the church secretary came walking down the hallway, and she saw me sitting there all by myself, and she said, why are you here? And I said, "I'm here for the Parkinson's support group meeting." And she says, "Oh my gosh, that disbanded 3 years previously." So I felt crushed. I was trying to find out as much as I could. I had this mission about finding out what I could about Parkinson's disease, and that included live, real people. And the only way that we were going to have a support group is if I put it together. But I didn't know anybody with Parkinson's. That was the problem. So how do you organize a support group when you don't know anybody in the community that has the disease? So I decided to put together a 5K walk, and I was promoting it within the community. And this TV station did a story on my 5K, and unbeknownst to me, there was a woman and her husband watching me on TV who was in a local optometrist's office, and they were having a conversation about whether or not she should inform her close family friends about Parkinson's disease that she had. And they saw me on TV, and they gave me a call. And that started a relationship with Connie Jones that I've had for 8-9 years now. And that helped me organize the Foxtrot and put together a support group in the area. Well, I've always given back. My parents were involved in the community growing up, so they sort of taught us that giving back was important. My company had always been giving back. Our company slogan is "Do good work, make money, have fun, and give back." So before Parkinson's, we were working with a number of groups in the community to help them with their marketing and public relations. So we decided to obviously to include Parkinson's in that. And we started to work on projects with the Parkinson's community. Our goal really wasn't to raise a lot of money. It was selfishly to find other people with Parkinson's disease. I wanted to connect with them. But we happened to raise $30,000 for the Michael J. Fox Foundation in that first year. And over the years, we've raised nearly $400,000 for the foundation for Parkinson's research. So that was important, but the most important thing was to get people together to organize a support group. And within a month of that first Foxtrot, we had a support group meeting. And it was kind of funny because we would go at the Foxtrot, we would walk around and talk to the people, and the people would say, "I have what you have." They couldn't even say the word Parkinson's disease. because a lot of these people had been staying home alone and suffering alone. So we knew that the support group would be successful because there are all these people looking for an outlet, and they hadn't found it yet. So we're pretty pleased about bringing people together to talk about Parkinson's disease. After we had organized the Foxtrot and the support group, we started putting together exercise classes, and now we have 3 exercise classes a week. 2 of them are boxing classes, and one of them is called Delay the Disease, which is a very specific exercise class for people with Parkinson's. But when we first showed up to do the boxing class, there was one lady, her husband had just died, and she was probably about in her low 80s, 81, 82 years old, but she came in a wheelchair. She had fallen and she had broken a bone, and she was in a wheelchair. And she started hitting the bag from her wheelchair. But within about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, she was out of her wheelchair, hitting the bag on her own. And she told us, instead of having someone needing someone to get her out of bed in the morning, she could get out by herself. So I mean, this boxing class was making terrific changes in people's lives. For someone who's that age and had that kind of a problem, just allowing them to get out of bed on their own is a huge deal. And we were just so pleased about that. Taking care of yourself is the most important thing you can do. And I always tell this to people, before you do anything, take care of yourself. And for me, it's 4 things. One is take your medicine on time. The second one is exercise weekly. You don't have to exercise on a bike or run. It could be a dance class. But exercise weekly, because it can help slow down or even reverse, in some instances, Parkinson's. Number 3, get involved in a support group. If you don't have a local support group, there's ones on Facebook. You got to have a Parkinson's buddy, whether that's a group of people or one person. And see a doctor that specializes in Parkinson's disease. So managing your emotional well-being is important, but you got to take care of yourself as well. When I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, the doctor turned to me and said, "Don't be afraid." He says, "This is the best time to have Parkinson's disease." And I thought it was the weirdest thing for the guy to tell me. Here I was, I had this disease that was progressive and there wasn't a cure. And he's telling me it's the best time to have it. Well, he was right. It is the best time to have Parkinson's disease right now. Don't be afraid. There's lots of things that you can do to live a strong and successful life. And this conference is going to show you how to do that. But the one thing that I say to people too is just the smallest thing can make a big impact on someone's life. You know, you look at me, a twitch, a tremor, seemingly something small changed my life forever. Think about it, just picking up the phone and talking to someone when they're struggling or seeking answers, or putting a contribution box on the back of a bicycle for this person who would ride their bike around town just to collect money for Parkinson's research, or holding a coffee break for people with PD at a local coffee shop. We can all do it by small acts of kindness. We can change our lives and the lives of so many other people. All you have to do is take that first step.